și și acaba să nu series o coisa chama mas faz um jogo das homens hoje e é seu chão do outro está mas nem vai não seja o preço que nasce do Brasil mas se lá não se eu faço assim os outros.
Okay, this is a dream that I had last night, and I feel like I'll share it on YouTube. The first part of the dream has to do with me going, basically, I'm working at a supermarket with a group of other people, and we basically do odds and end jobs besides what we do at the supermarket itself. And the owner of the supermarket, he does cleaning and maintenance for people's homes. So we go to this guy's house, who, by the way, I know him from church, and we have to mop his entire house because he has like wooden floors in his house. And in the process of doing this, apparently one or some other people in the group, we forget to do one of the rooms. And I think it was just sort of like a misunderstanding. And so he gets ticked off at the manager. And anyway, we, really it's me. I'm responsible apparently, because if you know what scourging means, it basically means they take like a whip, and it's very symbolic to how the Muslims treat people who have done crimes. They whip you on the back with this whip, and he intended to do that to me because I was not going to apologize for making the mistake about, you know, what we were mopping. And so anyway, he wanted me to sign a confession that I had forgot to do one of these rooms. And the assumption made at this point is that I'm not even in America. I'm actually in some sort of Muslim country. And so I'm thinking about it, and I really couldn't figure out exactly what I should say in this apology, in this statement. So anyway, eventually, well, actually, he does scourge me once, and then one of the people in my Bible group, he's the leader, he intervenes and talks to the friend from the group and says, you know, maybe we should just find some other way to resolve this. So after that point, the story doesn't change, but it's sort of like we go into hiding, at least I do, and the Bible leader, he takes me and a few other people, and the feeling is we're trying to leave the country. We're trying to flee from authorities, because I knew what was going to probably inevitably be next. They would come after me with, the intention, because the Islamic belief is that if you do something wrong, they just decapitate you, and first they torture you. And this is a really interesting part of the end of my story, is that we get into this really, really small village, and we're just basically trying to figure out how long can we stick around here before we can flee out of the country, we can get across the border. And we meet up with, these young children who are definitely malnutrition. They're starving. But we are too, because we don't have any real way to buy food now that we're not working any place. And eventually we come up with a plan that, we're gonna set off a nuclear device here in this small town. We're gonna hide it so people can't find where it is. And so we find this old cardboard box in this old shed, and one of the people in the group apparently is an atomic scientist, because she's able to put together all of the different things that's needed, and she arms it, and there is a dog right there next to where all this is happening, and apparently disease and other kinds of problems are going on in this Muslim country, because the dog has gone insane, or it's gone mad. And just petting it gets really agitated or upset, and it all has to do with its mental capacity too. And she can't take it with her, because she knows the dog would obviously turn on everybody. So she sets up the bomb, and basically I woke up before the bomb went off, but the assumption was we were setting up the bomb to kind of like annihilate or eliminate either whatever the diseases that are in this part of the country are, that it's affecting everybody. It's killing the children, it's killing the adults, and making the animals go crazy. But anyway, as a part of the earlier part of my dream, I can also remember the fact that it was brought up about the fact that my sister was burned to death, and this man who owned the house was Muslim too, and he felt that had a symbolic gesture to the fact that we had suffered other ways besides just that he was going to scourge me with this whip. That this could have been a part of the Muslim belief that you've had mitigating circumstances in your life, and that you've suffered more than most people. And I thought that was an interesting part of the story. That when I mentioned that to him, it kind of made this, the really severeness of this act of not having performed my duty as a visitor in their home, doing this mopping performance, was somewhat less vile. It was less horrible for these Islamics that were living in the house to say that you're an infidel beyond words because of what you did to us. And I felt like I should share that on YouTube. So
dream from about 8 years ago, related to a warehouse. I was living in a deserted area outside a major city, I assume in Atlanta. It was run down and the whole area around it looked as though a nuclear bomb had gone off some years ago. The warehouse resembled a kind of parking garage like this, but with fencing all around it to keep people like me out. Some sections had been left unfenced because they were really tight sections between concrete and they figured no one could get in those places. I did and thought it was at least better being here than outside in the elements, with many people wandering around like they were ready to kill someone, so I didn't want to be there. The sky was overcast all the time, no sunlight at all. Of course, if a nuclear war had already happened, it would be overcast with the ash still floating above the atmosphere. It was cold but not whiteout conditions, like a blizzard, because there was no snow on the ground. Some of this dream was shared in another video when I started writing these down, so don't be surprised if you hear some things that are similar. The warehouse had various stalls that people were using to live in, so you had to be careful not to upset someone, or you'd be as dead as those who were outside trying to get in. Food, water, were not seen anywhere. It looked eerie inside because without light, it was hard to see much, but I do remember seeing a kind of peaks above like it was a barn, but you knew it wasn't anything but a warehouse or parking garage of some kind. The point of the visuals is only reference, not that I saw a nuclear flash inside the warehouse. Some of the experience resembled another nuclear war movie, The Omega Man. Remember that people were living like zombies and couldn't go out during the day? They had to stay inside and out of the light. That's some of what it felt like being in this warehouse, that people all kept to themselves and roaming around wasn't recommended.
Go. I say go away. You bother me.